What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here, back again with another surprise review. Totally unexpected. I really thought my next review was going to be for Godzilla -1. My 2-minute out of the theater reaction video has been doing very well. A lot of people are very interested in this film. And so I'm really trying to get that review out. Having said that, I felt like talking tonight, so I did a live stream earlier out of nowhere. And one of the films that I showed, Sonny Chiba collection. Now, I'm a big fan. He was in dozens upon dozens of movies. He's known for things like Street Fighter. The quality on this one wasn't too great, so I actually kind of took a detour from watching the rest of these, and I watched a few other Sonny Chiba movies, such as Bullet Train. No relation to the recent American film of the same name, but it is a partial inspiration for the movie Speed. Anyway, you know, Sonny Chiba did all kinds of different roles. He didn't just pummel people to death and, you know, tear their junk out. Anyway, I stumbled upon something during that unboxing. I hadn't really taken a hard look at this. Sonny Chiba, 4 films. Mill Creek. Okay, so maybe the quality's not going to be good. Maybe it's going to be terrible. But then I start reading. What do we have here? Resurrection of Golden Wolf. Sounds like a kung fu film or a fantasy film. Martial arts or a fantasy film or something. But it's not. It's set in, filmed in 79, so set at that time. And it stars none other than Yusaku Matsuda. And it's also directed by Toru Murakawa, who directed this game trilogy, which starred Matsuda. And by the way, I've recently just got a comment from someone from Japan that was appreciative of me reviewing these films, and they also mentioned that they like his music. So I was like, wow, I love comments like that, because then I learned something. Actually, they didn't mention it, I don't think, but I clicked on their channel and I saw that they had a lot of his songs on their channel. So I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting, pretty talented guy. As a matter of fact, this film, Resurrection of the Golden Wolf, was made, I believe, in between The Killing Game and The Most Dangerous Game. And yes, it is on the Sonny Chiba collection, but this really is a Yusaku Matsuda film. He's the star. Sonny Chiba has a supporting role. If you were going into it expecting maximum Sonny Chiba, you'd be disappointed. I would hope that you would maybe be disappointed, but then realize this is a really solid film. This is a fun film. This is pretty much, I would say, almost up there with the films in the game trilogy. And they're not dissimilar, to be quite honest. So yes, let's just talk about Sonny Chiba real quick. He plays, this is another Toru Murakawa film that's just filled with conniving, you know, backstabbing, underworld figures, or just figures, because they're not always from the underworld. In his films, a lot of them come from the corporate world in Japan, or the police. I mean, there's nobody is beyond being cast as an amoral SOB. So so Chiba in this is not your Sonny Chiba that you may be accustomed to. He's not pummeling anyone to death in this. It's a good role, but it is very much a supporting role. He's kind of a blackmailer that gets involved in the plot, and, you know, he is a supporting role. It's funny, I did look up the film on IMDb, and somebody, even the guy that reviewed it, the person that reviewed it, even made it a point to say, hey, if you're watching this from the Sonny Chiba collection, he's the photographer. Just to point it out, because I was kind of wondering, like, half an hour in, like, when is Sonny Chiba going to make an appearance? So I think what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to add this to the playlist of what I thought was going to be the game trilogy playlist. I think I'm going to call it the Yusaku Matsuda playlist, or maybe the Toru Murakawa playlist. Gosh, I hope I'm saying these names right, as I've said them each 27 times already. Anyway, very happy with this film. And for Mill Creek, looked pretty good, I have to say. It was not too bad. Really pretty good. And the character that Matsuda plays in this film is really not too dissimilar from the Narumi character, the hitman character that he played in the game trilogy. As far as the review of the film, you have another Yusaku Matsuda character who is just an amoral, crafty, very capable, physically fit criminal, essentially, just like in the game trilogy. In that trilogy, he is a straight-up hitman. In this film, very interestingly enough, I was looking for him, and it took me a second because he's got his hair all slicked back, and he's wearing a wig. And he's basically just a regular, what they call a salary man in Japan. You know, in Japan, a lot of times when you would work for a corporation, you would pretty much get hired for life, and it's like very cutthroat to rise to the top. So he's very much sort of in the middle management of this company, but he's got a dark secret. He is an underworld figure at night. He's robbing people. He starts out by robbing people. He has all this money, but he can't spend it right away. He has to launder it because the cops know the serial numbers of all the notes, and he goes and he has all this inside information in the company. He knows that the higher-ups have created a shell company and that they're involved in some shady business. There's all these rumors, and he's also very crafty. Even little simple things. He'll take out like a little, it looks like a little handheld calendar, but it's got a mirror in it. So he's watching the bosses behind him like huddle together and talk about stuff. And he goes, and he has a listening device he uses. He goes into the restroom and the next restroom over, and he listens to what they're saying. So he's got all this inside information, and he basically exploits it. And I got to be honest with you, this plot is, it weaves in and out, a little bit hard to follow. You have multiple characters. Many of them, you know, we're not accustomed to the names so much, but many of them have similar names. And essentially, he almost could be Narumi, except for the fact that he's not like a straight-up hitman. There's a scene where he is actually following someone, and he sees that they have like a girlfriend or a mistress. And when the guy separates from the mistress, I knew, based on these game films, game trilogy, that he wasn't going to go after the guy. He was going to follow the mistress and pretty much exploit her. And he does. So just like in the game trilogy, this film is not going to be for everyone, especially when it comes to the way that he exploits and treats the women in the film. He introduces some drugs, kind of gets the one girl hooked, and you know, he's just working like just every angle. And in, you know, he'll do things like call out sick and get all this sympathy. Meanwhile, he's he's basically trying to take over or the company that he works for from within, with like two identities. It's a pretty good story. He even does a thing where he's at a boxing gym, and he tells them that he's a hemophiliac. And I don't think that was true. I think that's just something he told them at the gym. So therefore, he couldn't compete professionally because there's somebody at the gym's like, oh man, you know, you could be the middleweight champ. Oh, if only you could actually compete. So then he calls the office at one point, disguising his voice, saying, oh, we're looking for this guy. I forget his character's name, to be quite honest. And this is his boxing gym, and he hasn't been there in a while, and you know, he's so good. We were just hoping he would come back. And then the bosses are like, oh, wait a minute, this guy's a boxer? Hey, maybe we could use him. So they pull him aside, and that scene is pretty wild. There's some weird scenes in this movie, like just weird shots, angles. You know, they pull him in this room. He's speaking basically to a wall. And as the boss is speaking, you hear this echo. It was bizarre. So they're basically using him to try to get out of an extortion plot that he's a part of, or that he's exploiting. And, you know, there's another company that wants to do a hostile takeover, and Sonny Chiba plays the nephew of the CEO of that company. And they've hired a private eye who pretends that he's blind, and there's some really good cat and mouse scenes. People are chasing each other. Just like in the game trilogy, there are scenes where he just goes through like 15, 20 people. I mean, he's dodging bullets left and right. He's rolling. He's agile. There's not as much gunplay in this one, but there's some. And, you know, he can be pretty brutal. Actually, he pulls off like a Sonny. Funny enough, he pulls off like a Sonny Chiba move. He's got this guy by the arm, and he twists his arm and bends the guy over, and then he essentially karate chops the guy right in the near where the shoulder is, and breaks the guy's shoulder. It's pretty brutal. But yeah, he's usually got a lot of redundancy. You know, he can smell a trap. It's just a good sort of look into the criminal underworld. Good, decent amount of action, lots of twists and turns. I feel like I'm gonna have to watch it again at some point to really just nail every little nuance down. But again, just like the game trilogy, not for everybody. I couldn't even really go into the plot anymore if I tried, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I had to pause my regularly scheduled Godzilla interview just to give a two very enthusiastic thumbs up to this film, and just to let everyone know that this film exists and it's on the Sonny Chiba collection. But as I said, Sonny Chiba has a supporting role in this one. This one is all Yusaku Matsuda. Highly recommend it if you're in this kind of film. And I just want to go out on a limb here. Has anyone seen it? If not, anybody have this? What is your favorite Sonny Chiba film? And if this film sounds good, please check out my reviews of the game trilogy films. Eventually, I will watch them all with commentary and sort of come back with one final review of that whole series, this excellent box set here. Having said that, I'm going to get back to my Godzilla review, so look for that. That should be the next review on the channel. And let me know if you like these Japanese crime film reviews. Okay, later, guys.